In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to develop a strong business plan and whether you think is actually a good idea to commit to. If you don't know who I am already, my name is Michael Tabaradi, coach and mentor, and I help self-starters and ambitious professional millennials improve their productivity, enhance their performance, and live their life on purpose. If this is the first time you've checked out this channel, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can get more videos like this. All the links are in the description below. Now let's get to the video. Now, many people are not sure whether a business plan is a good idea to commit to. There have been many people saying you should just stick to pitch decks or doing something at the back of a napkin or something like that, and avoid doing this whole arduous task of developing a business plan. Now, what I'd say to that is, regardless of whether you do a business plan, a pitch deck, or do it at the back of a napkin, the point being made is that there are certain elements within these different structures or documents, so to speak, that are really good for enabling clarity. And so with this video, you're going to understand those elements, whether you turn it into a business plan or not, so that you can be better prepared for what you need to do for your business. Again, this may be useful if you're trying to get investment or you're trying to explain to different colleagues or employers or people who are helping you out with your business. And again, this will create crystal clarity for you. So let's get to it and let's dive into those different elements. Now, there are a number of different elements that are involved when developing a business plan, and I've developed many business plans over the years, not only for myself, but for other people who needed assistance with their business plans. So here are some of those elements: executive summary, products and services, market research, also making sure you understand your competitor research as well, understanding what the operations are of the business, your marketing strategy, also looking at your management structure, looking at your risks and mitigations, identifying the finances, also looking at the capital requirements if you're just starting out, and appendices for any sort of research or links that you want to get back to. So let's go through each one step by step. So the first one is your executive summary. Here is where you summarize effectively or give a high-level understanding of what the long-term vision is, the mission is, the values, your approach, and what you're trying to do, so that when you're actually looking at this plan, or if you're providing it to other people, they can clearly identify what it is that you're trying to do. Again, you know I'm talking about values all the time. These are the important things that you want to focus on in terms of attributes or characteristics. When it comes to your long-term vision, it's almost thinking about what sort of impact you want to make, not just in a small community, but on the world. Think big when you're thinking about your vision. When it comes to your mission, what are you called to do? What are you trying to do? What do you want to be known for? What do you want to be identified as? And again, really highlighting your approach allows people to understand what makes you stand out. What is your USP, your unique selling point? So identifying this stuff in clear language that you can articulate is really important, not only for your own understanding and reinforcing what you need to do, but also for others who want to understand more about your business. So that's your executive summary. The next thing is products and services. Now here you're highlighting what products and services you want to put on offer. So this will include things like benefits, features, what stage you are with these different products and services, and really explaining what you have to offer with these different things. What makes it stand out? Is it speed? Is it timing? Is it money? Is it brand quality? Is it technology? What are the things that make your products and services stand out? So really understanding how you provide the need for the problem you're trying to solve for your community is key when talking about your products and services. And if you've got any links to your products and services, you want to add them to this part of your business plan. The next thing to highlight is your market research. So this is understanding the key trends, the drivers, and the things that influence your market in such a way that you need to be aware of. So this could be the economics, this could be people, this could be company, this could be technology, this could actually be the weather. You have to understand what creates the changes in your market. And so you have to be able to be ready to understand how to adapt to those different situations. But in addition to that, you also want to understand your customer. You need to understand their demographics, their psychodynamics, their consumerist behavior, and all these other stuff that makes up your customer. The key thing here is understanding what problem are you trying to solve and how you're going to help them solve it. What have other people done in order to help them try to solve this specific problem or issue? Now, if you don't know of this already, there's something known as an empathy map, which really helps you break down exactly what your customer is actually feeling, thinking, saying, doing, and hearing. And so something like an empathy map alongside many other different things can help you understand your market and your customer to a really good detail as well. And again, for some of you who are Facebook ninjas, you can check out some of the audience insights that enable you to do some even further research and understand the numbers to a detail. Again, if you have numbers attached to your community and your audience, you're at a point where you're actually going to be more intentional with what you need to do, and you have a clearer understanding of what the market size looks like. So again, let's say for example in the UK, 50% guys, 50% girls, there are about 70 million people within the UK. That's 35 million women or 35 million guys. And again, maybe 10% of those are within the IT industry. So 10% of that will be 3.5 million. And maybe another 10%, live within London. So that's 350,000. And so maybe you want to target those specific people because you know what your niche looks like. So again, when you understand the numbers, you can break this down. And this is what your market research enables you to do. The next thing on the list is to make sure that you do effective competitor research. Now, I don't necessarily like the word competitor, but basically it's those individuals who are in your industry doing something pretty similar to what you're doing. So you need to have a list, a hit list of people who are doing it really well. And what I would try to do is maybe find people who are just above you, who are kind of established in the field, and those who are really killing it as well. So you can get a good grasp of what is working for them. So you want to analyze their ads, you want to look at their funnels, you want to look at their brand colors, you want to look at their offers, you want to look at how frequently they're posting and what they're putting in their call to actions. You want to look at all of these different things and understand what is their rhythm, what makes them stand out, what makes them get results. Because if you understand this stuff, then you can look back at yourself and see what you need to do as well. This stuff is golden, because once you understand what works, especially from a competitor analysis point of view, you're really going to win. Back in the day when I used to do Facebook advertising for some of my videos, I got to a point of really understanding what worked. I knew what colors people were using. I knew what type of titles people were using. I understood what sort of funnel backend they were using. And of course, you're not going to know everything, but you will know a good proportion and good amount if you actually do this analysis. So really study what your individuals are doing. Again, for anybody who's interested in Facebook and Instagram ads, you can actually check out Facebook Ads Library, a free resource that enables you to see what people have posted in the past and what people are posting now, especially for your specific industry as well. Following competitor research is the operations. Now, this is the day-to-day, the week-to-week, the month-to-month activities that you need to be focusing on. Also quarterly activities and annual activities as well. Now, I like to split this up into two main bits. So it's almost like the initial operations that you need to focus on. So the things that help you set up your business. But the second thing is also the things that you're doing on a rhythmic basis as well. Because if you know what this is essentially actions that you need to follow step by step in order. Then you're at a point where you're very intentional, and you can add this to your Trello board as well if you need to. So operations is really your step-by-step of what you need to do. It does involve other stuff as well, but for me, I like to keep it simple. It's effectively an action log of keeping me grounded in terms of knowing what I need to be focusing on. And if you want to be sort of very specific, maybe you want to highlight what is actually urgent, what is important, and what is the thing that is going to bring in the bread specific for your business as well. The next thing you should be thinking about is your marketing strategy. Now, this is really good because it goes hand in hand with your competitor analysis and your market research as well, because you know what you should be targeting. So with this, you should be thinking about distribution channels. You should be thinking about frequency, thinking about tools that you're going to use. You should be thinking about marketing budget. If you're going to put money into advertising or getting other people to do stuff for you, you may want to do a SWOT analysis. Again, that's your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. So again, so you're very clear in terms of what you need to be focusing on. Now, this is going to be driving your business. And so maybe, for example, you may want to do weekly lives on Instagram and Facebook, or even YouTube. You may want to do weekly YouTube videos. You may want to actually set up some sort of email list, which I think is really, really important to do. And again, for those of you who don't know already, you can sign up to my email list and you'll get one quote, one idea, and one recommendation, a book recommendation to you every single Sunday. So check out the link below to sign up to that as well. But these are different ways in which you can boost your marketing efforts in order to bring in the different clients that you can help solve their problems for. The next thing to think about is your management and your structure. So this is thinking about your legal standing and setup. So are you a sole trader? Are you a partnership? Are you a limited company? Are you any of these different things? It's also thinking about the individuals on your team. So do you have volunteers? Do you have employees? Do you have, contractors? What is your setup and what are their roles and responsibilities? Really, really important to outline what that is first, because if you don't know what people are doing and if you don't have objectives for them, or if you don't have some sort of idea of what tasks they should be focusing on, it may be a little bit confusing. And don't get me wrong, people may just start out with some sort of admin assistance and helping out with a bit of things here and there, but clarity serves especially in your business as well. So these are things to think about. You should also think about the number of shares that you may be attributing to different people within your business as well. Now, you may not necessarily be at that stage, but I think it's also good or important to understand what you want your distribution sort of model to look like in terms of shares as well, if you're going to go down that model. So think about this stuff in advance, especially if you're at a point where things are starting to pick up. Again, if they're not, maybe you don't necessarily have to think about that, but again, it's something to bear in mind. Now, if you need further advice on that, I would talk to a lawyer or an accountant who can give you the right sort of information in terms of knowing what you should do going forward. Next, we have risks and mitigations. So what assumptions are you making about your business? What are you scared will happen when it comes to actually delivering on your business? Because if you're clear of what your risks are or potential risks, then you get to a point of trying to find ways to actually solve or mitigate those specific risks as well. Again, you have risks and you have issues. Risks are things that haven't happened already, but issues are things that are happening right now. So they're separate things. So list these things, and next to it in a column, you can write down different ways in which you can mitigate these different risks as well. Following on from that, you also have the finances section. Now here you want to be very specific. This is all about numbers. So you need to understand what your income may look like based on the products and services that you're selling. So obviously you have to understand what your prices look like. And usually what I do, I like to think of ranges. I like to think of what the minimum price would look like, what the median price would look like, and what the maximum price would look like, and then develop different scenarios in order for me to understand what my projections look like going forward. And so once you understand what that looks like, then you can choose one in order for you to understand what you should be working towards. But in addition to that, you should also lay out the expenses that you're likely to have in your business. Think about one-off costs, think about monthly costs or weekly costs. This could be down to people you're paying. This could be down to technology that you're using or software. This could be a whole host of stuff. So consider all of this stuff and really think about what is your net take home. Once you understand what your net take home is, think about in month 1, 2, 3, 4, or quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the first year and maybe the second year as well, what those projections would look like. And it may be difficult to do, but looking at your competitors, you can understand what that may have looked like, okay? So it's important to understand what your numbers look like. We're almost finished. Now we have the capital requirements. And so this is essentially where you need to understand how much money you need to get started, okay? So maybe you're applying for a grant, maybe you need a loan. So do you need £25,000? Do you need £50,000? Do you only need £1,000? What is this money being used for? Is this to get a license? Is this to get training? Is this to get marketing? Is this to be used for advertising? Think about this carefully before you actually put this into your business plan. Now, some of you may not need capital requirements. Many of you may be funding this yourself through your actual job. But again, it's something to think about, because at the end of the day, if you know what's out there, if you know what's available, especially in terms of grants, then you're at a point where you're a leg up and you can actually make more of an impact quicker because there is an audience waiting for you to do that. And last but not least is the appendices. And this is where you have additional links based on your research and other things that you have found in order to inform some of these different elements within your business plan. Now, this is useful because if you ever want to revisit this stuff again to jog your memory, then again, the links are there in an organized fashion. Now, since you stayed to the end, what I've done is that I've provided a link below for you to download a business plan template that you can start using today. So click on the link below to make sure that you actually check out that business plan template. Now, of course, this year has been an interesting year, but planning is still key. And so what I want to be talking about in the next video is how you can actually plan your following year and how you can create lifestyle design. So make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell to check out that video. And as always, understand, reach, and expand. Peace.